Everyone knows the civil rights movement. Everyone knows Malcolm X and MLK. But if I were to mention Huey Newton, Bobby Seale, Fred Hampton, many may know the organization of the Black Panthers, but how much do you really know? Well, it all starts in 1961. Huey Newton and Bobby Seale attended Merritt College in Oakland, California. The pair met protesting the college's Pioneer Day, which celebrated the settling of California, but neglected to mention African American influence in the development of the region. Seale and Newton grew a friendship, and following the assassination of Malcolm X in 1965, they formed the Black Panthers. The Black Panthers continued to grow, and by 1968 had 2,000 members dispersed across the country, including in major cities like New York, Chicago, and LA. Huey and Bobby were inspired by communist figureheads like Marx and Castro. They wanted civil rights for every African American. They petitioned for their various demands in the form of their 10-point program.
Let's get into the inner workings and the meaning of this. Let's get into the inner workings and the meaning of a black revolution and why black people have a right to take what's theirs. You can read the platform of the program, and it's a basic program, and it simply says exactly what black people have been crying for 400 years. 1, we want freedom. 2, we want full employment for our people. 3, we want decent housing fit the shelter of human beings. 4, we want an end to the robbery of the black community by the white racist businessman. 5, we want decent education that teaches us about the true nature of this racist decadent system. 6, we want all black brothers to be exempt from military service. 7, we want an immediate end to police brutality and murder of black people. 8, we want all black brothers and sisters held in federal, county, state, city, jails, and prisons to be released because they have not had a fair trial. Number 9, this is where Brother Huey is being caught. We just want the courts to make sure we have peers on the jury of people from the black community as defined by the jive Constitution, the so-called United States. 10, summary with the major political objective. That is, we want land, bread, housing, clothing, education, we want justice, we want peace. The major political objectives, we want a black plebiscite, the UN, the black colonial subjects will participate, dealing with, analyzing, projecting politically upon the racist atrocities committed against black people.
They believed that they were failed by American capitalism, and so they turned to change. The Black Panthers are often thought of as a violent group. On May 2nd, 1967, the Black Panthers stormed the Sacramento Capitol, armed with rifles and their typical berets. On October 28, 1967, Black Panther Party co-founder Huey Newton was involved in a shootout with police officer John Frey, which ended in the officer dying.
The shooting happened at 5 a.m., approximately where I'm standing on 7th Street in the heart of Oakland's Negro ghetto. A pool of blood marks the spot where 23-year-old Officer John Fry was found fatally wounded from 4 gunshots. Officer Fry, the father of a 3-year-old daughter, had been on the force a little more than a year. The suspect, charged with murder and attempted murder, is Huey Newton, 25-year-old leader of the Black Panthers for Self-Defense, an Oakland-based group that advocates arming all Negroes against what they call their white oppressors, especially police.
Huey was sentenced from 2 to 15 years of prison. On top of all of this, in the Black Panthers' years of existence, they were involved in numerous police shootouts. It's always easy to frame things through one lens. It's much harder to look at it from a broad perspective. The truth of the Black Panthers is nothing like it might seem. Indeed, the March on the Capitol was a protest to protect the right to bear arms in public. A bill was proposed to limit that right because of the Black Panthers. It was eventually signed into effect by Ronald Reagan. The Black Panthers were merely using their constitutional right to defend their constitutional right. Newton's shootout is speculative at best. Some reports state that he was handcuffed when the shots were first fired. 17-year-old Bobby Hutton, Treasury Secretary of the Black Panther Party, was shot and killed in an ambush by police officers. One account states that he was shot more than 12 times. Bobby Seale, the other co-founder of the Black Panthers, was bound and gagged in a trial for a crime that he likely didn't commit. The Black Panthers offered tons of community outreach for black citizens, helping with education and starting free breakfast programs for children. Lastly, Fred Hampton, chairman of the Illinois chapter of the Black Panther Party, was brutally assassinated as part of the FBI's counterintelligence program. This man is J. Edgar Hoover, the director of the FBI. He was once quoted as saying, "The Black Panther Party, without question, represents the greatest threat to internal security of the country." He also pledged that 1969 would be the last year of the party's existence. How? Through COINTELPRO, the FBI's counterintelligence program responsible for multiple illegal activities in order to gain information on the Black Panther Party and other civil rights movements. COINTELPRO used methods such as sabotage to turn these people against one another.
According to zoologists, the main difference between a panther and other large cats is that the panther has the smallest head. This is biologically true. Publicity to this effect might help neutralize Black Panther recruiting efforts. King, look into your heart. You know you are a complete fraud and a great liability. King, like all frauds, your end is approaching. Briartel requests Bureau authority to forward a letter from a fictitious person to publicize the pregnancy of Gene Seberg. Gene Seberg has been a financial supporter of the BPP and should be neutralized.
In December of 1969, there was a police shootout at the headquarters of the Black Panther Party in Southern California. Meanwhile, an Illinois police raid resulted in the assassination of Fred Hampton. While the Black Panther Party didn't end in 1969 like Hoover had promised, COINTELPRO effectively killed them. From 1969 on, the Black Panther Party did nothing. Everyone had lost enthusiasm. The FBI and their illegal tactics had won. The Black Panther Party officially closed their doors in 1982. In 1985, Huey Newton was accused of embezzling money from a school he was involved in. Huey had fallen on hard times after the fall of the organization. And 4 years later, in 1989, at 47 years old, Huey P. Newton was murdered by a rival black nationalist organization.
We're used, we're brutalized. The police in our community occupy our area, our community, as a foreign troop occupies territory. And the police are there not to, in our community, not to promote our welfare or for our security and our safety, but they're there to contain us, to brutalize us, to murder us.
Bobby Seale is now 84 years old and a grandfather to 4 grandchildren. He travels across the country wearing his typical beret, giving speeches about problems still plaguing the black community in America.
Huey P. Newton, Minister of Defense of the Black Panther Party, who's now incarcerated in the Alameda County Jail and also being tried there in Oakland, where the judge and the DA are picking and doing their damnedest to pick a racist jury, where the power structure and Governor Reagan want to kill him, the practice of capital punishment, kill Huey P. Newton, where they charged him with said, quote, murdering a cop, wounding another. Well, we patrolled pigs on those streets out there for 6.5 months. And if we had wanted to just murder a cop, we could have murdered a cop. But we didn't murder no cop. It was only defense. Huey P. Newton was stopped for a traffic ticket.
Everyone knows the civil rights movement. Everyone knows Malcolm X and MLK. But if I were to mention Huey Newton, Bobby Seale, Fred Hampton, many may know the organization of the Black Panthers, but how much do you really know? Well, you know that the Black Panther Party was founded by Huey Newton and Bobby Seale in their attempts to fight for civil rights of African American people. You know that the public viewed them as a violent organization when in reality, behind the scenes, they were helping to get basic needs to people everywhere. You know that J. Edgar Hoover, the FBI, and COINTELPRO, using illegal activities, were responsible for the destruction of the Black Panthers and many other civil rights organizations. In a world unwilling to change, the Black Panthers made people think about the idea. In reality, they were just as influential as anybody else, and are often portrayed as something they are not. The Black Panthers deserve to be remembered for their impact on the civil rights movement. In the modern era, it is as important as ever to remember Huey Newton, Bobby Seale, every other member of the Black Panther Party, and what the organization really did.